Hey everybody, welcome to Banter. I'm Brian McFadden. I draw cartoons for places, and I'm here with Matt.
Hey, what's happening? It's our first time we've done this on a Friday, I think. I don't know.
I think so, yeah, once or twice. Like my schedule gets nuts, and it's been super crazy this week. So we're doing it on a Friday, which is the bad news dump day. And
And unlike people in the White House, we're not resigning.
yes, you have to pay me money to go away. I'm not just gonna do it. But I did a cartoon about the VA this week. It's up on the nib about Shinseki's troubles.
Yeah.
But now that he's gone, it's gonna be all fixed apparently.
Yeah. But
Um,
you made a simple flowchart here for how it will all work.
That was a pain. Like I am not good at information design. That's why I don't do infographics. Like that took me longer than anything I've drawn.
Yeah. Yeah. So Shinseki's gone, and so is Jay Carney as of a few hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was the press secretary, but I don't watch the press conferences or anything. So whoever's the new person, I will ignore them too.
Yeah. Um, the big thing this week, pretty much the only news story I've been following or that I've drawn cartoons about is the shooting, of course, and then everything that's come out of it, like the Yes All Women campaign. And so, I guess to start off, I'll show my cartoon on that, which was called Your Worst Fear, and it got around, ended up being pretty popular, and I got upworthied. But so
Oh, like
yeah, yeah. Well, I'll talk about that in a second. But the guy asks for the number, and then he says, "Well, I hope she doesn't give me a fake number," and she says, "Well, I hope he doesn't rape and murder me." So um, this was incredibly popular, but I also got just a ton of guys, all guys, not all guys, but universally guys, who,
yeah,
yeah, not all men.
not all email. Well, all emails, but not all guys who send
Yeah.
email.
Well, it wasn't emails. It was like Facebook comments and this and that.
Right, right. That's the new thing instead of email. Like I
Although
mentioned before.
I did actually get emails too because I have a mailing list and I usually don't hear from everybody, but I woke up to a couple emails objecting to it, really long emails about how I'm painting men in a bad light and not all men are rapists. This is the point of the comic and the point of what all these women who are talking about yes, all women are bringing up, which is that they don't have guys don't have to get worried about getting raped or killed or stalked or terrorized in the way that guys don't have to worry about that in a way that women do, which seems obvious, but is sort of a lot of guys don't want to actually think about that or acknowledge it at all.
Yeah, like we ragged on like the hashtag activism and stuff, but like this one like put some things into light like that I never thought about. Like I knew like hey, girls probably don't want to be walking around garages at like late at night, and I understand why they don't want to like be alone, but yeah, it put a lot of things in perspective. Like oh okay, that's what
Well,
rape culture is instead of
what's
thinking
more,
like
and
everyone.
it's no exaggeration to say that like men are pretty much, well, it's like the Louis C.K. skit. Like men are the number one,
Bad
cause
things that happen to women.
yeah, and it's true. And there was a story I saw on Think Progress, which was that the number one killer of women in the workplace is a guy coming to kill them. Whereas with men, it's like an industrial accident or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I mean, a lot, as someone pointed out to me, a lot more men die in the workplace because they have more dangerous jobs or whatever. But that's not really the point. The point is
Not
that
all jobs.
yeah, not all jobs, not all men. But so I was. Well, let me show you this. I want to show this other. We had a bunch of other comics on the nib that were about this stuff, and then after we talk about Yes All Men, we can talk about the shooting itself. So this is a flowchart from Scott Bateman, who's women using all the hashtag get trolled by men, lectured by men, bullied by men, and then men use the hashtag retweeted and favorited. And this is pretty much my experience. Besides like the people I'm talking about getting at me about it, I never got any rape threats or death threats because I'm a guy, but I could.
Yeah, you got essays, like long-winded essays trying to rebut you, but
Yeah, long arguments. I had to do long arguments, and
no.
I did. Some funny stuff did happen. Like this guy. So, like I said, Upworthy posted it, and their comment thread underneath it was just a mess of people misunderstanding this. And so,
Really, in the comments?
Well, I just want to acknowledge that maybe could be my fault as a cartoonist of just not making a clear enough comment. But this one guy I liked. He said, "Your demonization of men is beyond immoral." And then another person said that I do what dictators do, which is, I guess they mean I'm demonizing my enemy, but they're comparing me to a dictator, which is sort of ironic. But anyway, and then another one that went up was Liza Donnelly. People arguing in hashtags,
which is actually how public debates seem to happen now.
Yeah, this is how people actually communicate on Twitter, and it's even worse on Facebook. But so that's good, and so it was sort of interesting to get a little bit of a backlash on that, because not like I'm oblivious to that, but it's interesting to see how defensive dudes get about just like common things like that. Women are kind of routinely murdered and raped in our society, and you don't actually know who you can't like know in advance who is not going to do that to you. So,
well, it's exactly like the people who like carry guns around. It's like, sure, you're probably not going to go on a shooting spree, but I don't know who the fuck you are. Like, you could be a maniac and not a good guy with a gun. Like, that's the thing.
Like if
strangers don't know you, and even people who know you kinda don't know you. So
if I work at Chipotle making burritos, I don't want you to walk in with an AR-15 because I don't know if you're going to kill me or not, or if it's just like your stunt because you're in a gun group. But so the whole reason all this stuff is being talked about, of course, is the Elliot Rogers, the insane misogynist campus shooter from last week, who left like a 140-page manifesto detailing how he wanted to do
videos like this. So don't do anything terrible, Matt. I don't want to be like wrapped up in some dragnet of YouTube videos.
Yeah. So he's angry at the world because he doesn't have a girlfriend that has sex with him and is a virgin at 22, which isn't like the biggest deal on earth, but he's also clearly mentally.
And he's a perfect 10, and who is totally this imaginary creature like a unicorn. Like, his standards are ridiculous.
Yeah, so everybody, the same people who are kind of arguing against this cartoon, are saying that it's not about misogyny, it's about mental illness, which it is about mental illness, I think, because most people don't go on shooting sprees or write 140-page manifestos.
Yeah, even terrible people like Donald Trump has a gun on a shooting spree.
Yeah,
terrible. Like, and he has terrible ideas. So if you combine mental illness with a terrible idea, that's pretty common. There are forums all about this PUA hate, or is it PUA hate? I don't even know how to.
I don't know. I call it PUA, pickup artist. But
yeah, PUA hate sounds I don't know, like a nice tropical dish. So PUA hate is what I've been calling it in my mind.
Well, Jezebel did this story where this woman went into these forums.
Yes. I actually read that when I was doing the cartoon that's coming up.
Yeah, it was good. A lot of these guys are, see this guy as a hero. I mean, they have this this sense of their aggrievement with women because they don't have sex with them, and they've developed this whole ideology that feminism has caused this system where beta males like them, their language is don't get all the women, and women only go with jocks who have a bunch of money or something, and alpha male pickup artists, and then
so like from 80s movies, their entire social structure is based on like 80s college movies where
also I don't know, this is getting more attention now, but a lot of people didn't know about pickup artistry before this. It's like
it was a big thing like 10 years ago on VH1. Like there was a TV show all about it. And,
right. It's clearly a huge scam that is directed towards these kinds of people.
Losers. Yeah. No, it's the Spanish Fly for the tech age. Like.
And it's like teaches you these ridiculous tactics like negging and whatever else that clearly just don't work or are idiotic. And then the same guys who, and then so now there's a subculture of PUA hate because they hate pickup artistry, and they see that as just helping like alpha males land chicks. Because these are the same guys who were like spurned by buying into it, and now they've developed this like deeply misogynistic hate culture where they sit around on computers and talk about how they hate women and and want to kill them all. So it's not surprising that a guy who was crazy latched onto these people.
Yeah, I mean, where there's an enemy that's demonized and it becomes women, and then I mean, well, like the worst thing too is you're like, well, he killed more men than women. It's like, yeah, but he left the manifesto saying why he's.
I heard that one was used against me a couple of times, but also, I mean, he killed the men, according to him, because they can have couple, they have girlfriend and he can't, or he's just like he's off on another planet. But it's like, so there's this like intersection of mental illness and misogyny, and also obviously like access to whatever kind of guns you want, but and people kind of a certain amount of people want to deny that like misogyny has any role in this, even though he's kind of like explicitly hates women, and that's what his entire like novel-length manifesto is about.
And this guy went on a killing spree, but a lot of women are just murdered in a one-off murder.
A normal man.
By someone they know. So it's a real thing, and if you don't go on a spree, I guess that's a normal person murder.
Yeah. Well, there was this the day after it happened. This a guy, I forget where it was, but he shot at 3 women.
Right, yeah. It was more of the weekend, and I was on vacation, but I did see that on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that sucks.
So he missed, of course, which is good. But if he had hit and killed all 3 of these women, I mean, that was more of like a rage crime than a planned crazy man manifesto. But if you shoot 3 women for not having sex with you, or you plan meticulously a day of retribution, as Rogers called it, I mean, there's the line between when you are and aren't crazy starts to get blurry. But like you said, I mean, basically what the whole Yes All Women campaign is coming from, and what my comic was about, is that regular violence against women happens just like at kind of epidemic rates and anyway. So all of this like shit that he was saying in the video is shit that sounds pretty close to what people hear from like stalking, creepy, aggressive, abusive people on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I mean, since we as a nation aren't going to do anything about guns, we might as well talk about something that came from this tragedy. And so that's the bright side of this like shitty, terrible cloud.
The
gun thing, like the victim's dad who pissed off at Congress, rightfully so. But I don't know, Wayne LaPierre has yet to give a press conference, right? I haven't seen his face pop up.
No, I think he just did that one that was about how video games are terrible after all the children were murdered in Sandy Hook, and then since then he's just been chilling out. We have a sneak preview of this weekend's New York Times comic that is going to be pretty funny. That's about gun guys and man children. You're going to have to see the whole thing either in the Times or on the Nib next week. But
so they didn't pay me. But if you want to see it early, like check out the Times and the Sunday Review.
Yeah, I moved recently, and I don't think the Times delivers to where I live anymore. I mean, I moved like a little bit out of the core of Portland. I was like really close in before, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the Times anymore, sadly. I have to read it online. So we have, to lighten the mood, we have 2 comics to make fun of here, as we usually do. Let's just start with the real low-hanging fruit here. J.R. Rose, who we brought in before.
Multiple times.
I have these up as Medium drafts on Medium, which is why the title thing is there, just for the sake of displaying it. So anyway, is this comic about a monkey on her back, or what? Because it's hard to tell from the literal monkey on the back and then her saying it 2 times.
And who's the her you're talking about? I don't think that's quite clear.
Well, you see it's down here on her cuff.
Oh, and not on the piece of paper she told her. Oh,
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is just like the worst. The worst.
And that monkey is very close to how like pretty much everyone drew George W. Bush, so it's super confusing.
Yeah. And then there's this was good. This is reaction to the shooting. Generic. Oh, so he's a trench coat wearing fan of Punisher.
Well, Columbine just happened like when I was a sophomore in high school, and I'm almost a 35-year-old man.
Yeah. Well, I love how. All right, he says, "I am mentally unstable and hate society for it. And why should I commit suicide alone in my room when I can kill myself along with countless others and be immortalized on cable news?" So I love how it's just
shoving exposition into the character's mouth. He could have even summarized the manifesto. Like, the killer left the manifesto. Like, you don't just have to. It's a lot harder to shove your own reasonings down a crazy person's throat when they leave like a long rambling thing.
I mean, I like people accuse, whenever you do political cartoons, people accuse you of being like ham-fisted and stuff, and like that's people say that to me sometimes. But I don't have just characters just looking at the viewer and saying like,
"This is why I did this.
this is why I did this and what I believe, and these are my views as the author, and I'm telling them to you as the viewer, and that's it. That's the end of the comic."
Yeah, like if I did a comic that was just like Obama being like, "I'm terrible and I want to kill people with drones, and now I'm going to do that." It's like, you just push a button. Like, okay.
I would actually like to see you draw that, just Obama saying with drones, and then like real, make it like blowing apart, like bodies exploding, and then
well, they do usually have a lot of space to fill, so yeah, if it's just those two speech bubbles,
and then he would just be calmly saying, "I am Obama and like to kill people with drones, and I will do that." So I guess that's it for this week. I just I don't know what I'm doing next week. I just published a comic today about Thomas Piketty's controversy. Piketty, however he pronounces his French name. And you turned in your gun cartoon for the Times, so we'll think of more stuff to talk about next week. Hopefully no one will be mass murdered, although a week barely goes by anymore without that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, and they usually happen on weekends now. But hopefully I'll spend some time tomorrow, and I'll come up with also a Nib exclusive, because it's my Nib exclusive week next week. So we'll see what I come up with tomorrow when I wake up, whenever that is.
All right, cool. All right, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, later.